Hey there, I'm Karthik Chaithanya. I'm junior at KL University from branch CSC. Today, I'm gonna give a brief on UI UX design. So let's hop in. I'm gonna cover topics on what is UI, why does it matter, types of UI and its properties, points to consider in UI, how to make great UIs, what is UX, why does it matter, principles of UX design, differences between UI and UX, good and bad designs, goals of UX design. So, what is UI design? It is a process which designer use to build interfaces in software or computer devices, focusing on looks or its styles. Designer aim to create interfaces which users find easy to use and pleasurable. So why does it matter? To make better experience and attractive to users while navigating through app, perform website. So types of UI. There are mainly three types of UI: graphical user interface, voice controlled interfaces, gesture based interfaces. Graphical user interfaces. User interact with virtual representation on digital control panels. Example, a computer desktop is a GUI. Voice controlled interfaces. User interact with these through their voices. Example, uh, voice assistants such as Siri, iPhone, Alexa. Gesture-based interfaces. Users engage with 3D design spaces through body motions. Example, VR. No matter what your UI design, you should always check it has the following properties such as clarity, familiarity, consistency, forgiveness, efficiency. Clarity. All elements of UI such as visual metaphors are crystal clear for users. Users should not decode the meaning of particular element. Familiarity. Your UI allows user to use their previous experience when they interact with your product. Consistency. Keeping your interface consistent across your product allows your user to recognize user patterns. Forgiveness. Good UI forgives user for their mistakes. Efficiency. Good UI allows users to provide minimal input to achieve the desired output. It also provides shortcuts for experienced users to make interaction for more productive. Things to consider. Some points to consider such as users judge designs quickly and care about usability and likability. So they don't care about your design, about getting their task done easy and with minimum effort. So your design should be invisible for users, so they should not focus but on completing tasks. Example, ordering a item on Amazon. So understand your users context and task flows, which you can find from customer journey maps to fine tune the best and most initiative UI and deliver the seamless experience. UI should be enjoyable. When your design predicts users needs to, they can enjoy more personalized and immense experience. Delight them and they'll keep returning. Where appropriate, elements of gamification can make your design more fun. And third property. So users should communicate brand values and reinforce user trust. Good design is emotional design, which connects emotionally with users. Users associate with good feelings with brands that speak to them at all levels and keep the magic of pleasurable and seamless experience. How to make great UIs? To deliver impressive GUIs, remember users are humans. We need such as comfort, a limit on their mental capacities. You should follow these guidelines. Make buttons and other common elements perform predictably, including responses such as pinch to zoom, so users can unconsciously use them everywhere. Maintain high discoverability. Clearly label icons and include well-indicated affordances. Example, shadows for buttons. Keep interfaces simple, with only elements that help serve users' purposes and create invisible feel. Respect the user's eye and attention regarding layout. Focus on hierarchy and readability. Use proper alignment. Typically choose edge over center alignment. Draw attention to key features using Color, brightness, contrast. Avoid including colors or buttons excessively. Text via font sizes, bold up, weighting, italics, capitals, and distance between letters. Users should pick up meanings just by scanning. Minimum of minimum number of actions for performing tasks, but focus on chief function per page. Guide users by indicating preferred actions. Easy complex task by progress disclosure. Put controls near objects that users want to control. For example, a button to submit a form should be near to the form. Keep users informed regarding system and responses. Actions with feedback. Use appropriate UI design patterns to help guide users and reduce burdens. Beware of using dark patterns, which include hard to see pre-filled opt-in, opt-out checkboxes and sneaking items into their users' cards. Maintain brand consistency. Always provide next steps which users can deduce naturally, whatever their context. So, what is a user experience? User experience is the experience that a person has as they interact with the product. The term was coined by Don Norman back in 90s when he was working at Apple. Don Norman says that user experience encompasses all aspects of end user interaction with the company, its services, and its products. And why does it matter? Because it makes the experience better for the users by understanding the behavior and how they interact with the product and the software. So, principles of user experience. So, 16 important principles for UX design. Meeting the user's needs. The foremost of all UX design principles is to focus on users throughout the design process. The term user experience itself makes it clear that your work needs to be centered on improving users' experience with your product service. Thus, you need to learn what users are looking for in a design. Know what are your in design process. For UX designers, a lot of work goes into designing, so knowing your place in the process is significant in several ways. Your design phase also helps you to ask right questions for your research. For instance, there is no point testing in color of a button if you are still figuring out why should be it placed in a design. Having a clear hierarchy. It is easy to take hierarchy for granted, but it is a UX principle that ensures smooth navigation throughout the design. There are two chief hierarchies that you need to know. First comes hierarchy that associated how content information is organized throughout design. For example, when you open a website, you will note navigation bar that includes main sections is primarily hierarchy. When you click or hover over its bar, you will note further subcategories of content opening take you deeper into the app or the site. The secondary are menus. Keeping it consistent. Users expect products to share some similarities with the products they regularly use. This makes it easy for them to become familiar with the new product without any additional learning costs. It may sound a little counterintuitive, but to make more familiar design to others, the faster users can learn to use it, which enhances their experience. Understanding the accessibility. An increasingly important rule for among the UX design basics is designing with the ability in mind. In simple words, a designer's responsibility is to make sure that his design is usable for as many as people as possible. This means that your design needs to be accessible for the people with disabilities too. Context is the key. When designing, you need to take the account the user's context. Location is commonly understood contextual factor. Are you designing for someone on the go or for someone sitting at the desk? But there are other things to consider, including time availability with more users. All emotional states, the device using people who influence, and more. Usability first. UX design is entirely focused on solving users' problem, which makes usability of the design one of the most crucial user experience design principles. So, no matter how aesthetically pleasing your work may be, it won't strike a chord with the user unless it's safe and easy to use. Less is more. Less is more design principle was originally proposed by Ludwig van der Rohe. For UX design, underlying aim of this simple reducing operation and cognitive costs of users. In placing a value on this, the design usability and consistent improve. Using simple language. Just as simplicity has become best practice in visual design, UX focused copywriting should avoid technical terms, opt for simple language. Users are busy, they're on go. They're multitasking, so use words in your design that are closest to users' thought. Typography is powerful. Equally important to the words you use in design typography, the other elements of typographic style. Robert Brinkhurst highlighted the role of UX design principle well. He writes, typography is a craft endowing human language with the durable visible form. Feedback matters. Design should be interactive by nature. So when a user clicks on something, he'll need a response from the product to understand his command has been received. Feedback is crucial way to encourage communication between humans and machines. Confirm your commit. Accidents happen with all the time. One common digital example, a person may unintentionally place an order. Your design should help correct this. Though because you don't want to give the user poor experience, this makes confirmation under one the essential for UX design principles. User is in control. User control focuses on great flexibility of use and better control of where a user is within the design or product, enhancing the user experience. Furthermore, it allows users to backpedal and recover from errors. Design with personality. Your design can attract more users if it showcases the character that interests the user persona. So you are designing for the users find it hard to connect with lifeless design, device or code. Visual grammar. Visual grammar has its roots in graphic design, but it sits in the helm of the visual communication, which plays a significant role in user experience. Visual grammar consists of everything that makes up the visual elements of digital design, icons, illustrations, patterns, and more. So last one, narrative design. Another one of the most important user experience design principle is narrative design or telling a story with your design. Two critical stories telling elements are time and rhythm. Time is pacing the design you adopts. For example, how slowly or quickly your narrative is unveiled. Similarly, rhythm is pattern of unfolding and narrative adopts. For instance, the pattern of series of screens through which entire design opens up. So, differences between UI and UX. UX design is what makes an interface useful. It is done through user testing, user research, and personas. It applies for both physical and digital products. UX helps users to accomplish their goals. User design is done first. It is employed across the products of interfaces and services. While UI makes a interface beautiful. It concentrates on layout, visibility, branding, applies for digital products only. UI makes emotional connection between users and the app. UI design is done second, although it can be done firstly. So UI only pertains to interfaces. Bad and good designs. Some properties like chaotic design, lack of contrast, not responsive, unpleasant color schemes, poor navigation, inconsistent style, lack of white spaces are considered as bad designs. So on the left we have a bad design like The biggest problem in this site doesn't use a grid. Poor typography make it unreadable. Random use of colors. So on the right, we have a good design from Amazon. A grid can make everything clean and organized on your website. It keeps your elements in a proper place and helps you to determine the size, the space of the text each. Uh, with the grid, you can create a consistent, well-designed interface. The second property, bad contrast. So clear and powerful contrasts between element can help user to know what is the core info of the page. It helps the user to better read and understand the info. On this site, the background color and the text are pretty much similar, leaving a weak contrast. The poor contrast makes the text become blurry to the eye. Besides, the small font size makes the readability of text extremely poor. Responsive. You should always use responsive design framework or adapt other better solutions. Your web page needs to run on mobile smoothly as it does on website. On this site, when loading on mobile phone, it still shows an entire page with such a poor interface. It does not have mobile version of Vue, so it's unable to use on phone. I just will give up on these websites like this. Color schemes. So it is on the left we have a bad design. It has an unpleasant color scheme. This web design is just like a mixed color palette which contains plenty of conflicting colors and text colors and also mixed with the background color. All this make it difficult for user to read, so navigation is quite complicated. On the good design, a good web design should use color properly to create beautiful and concise interface and atmosphere. Poor navigation and operations. A biggest feature of navigation for a website is self-evident. When a user logs into your website, he or she should understand what can you do next, what actions to take to reach the destination. The navigation must be eye-catching and should often be at top of the page. Styling. If you want to keep the page smooth, concise, then do not use too many elements of different styles. On this site, the text area uses high contrast colors, the different font sizes, highlighting info, but the text on the second level also uses highlight blue color, which is fact breaks the unity and balanced hierarchical interface. White spaces. White space is like a supporting cast whose duty is to make the star of the show stand out more by not standing out so much themselves. The interactive design, white space or negative space refers to the empty space between around the elements of a design or a page layout between paragraphs, pictures, buttons, icons, and other items on your web page. It is often overlooked and neglected. Well, despite its name, white space does not need to be white. It can be of any color, texture, or pattern, or even a background image. So, goals of UI design. The goal of UI design is to make users' interaction as simple as possible. A good UI design facilitates finishing the task at a hand without drawing unnecessary attention to itself. So, the job of UX designer is to enhance the ease of use of your software. Maybe the icon changes when clicked, maybe there is an engaging and satisfying sound. Whatever it is, deliver a constant feedback to your user. Keeping things constant. Maintaining consistency allows the user to become familiar with your service. Familiarity in turn creates a sense of predictability in your system. This challenge for UX designers because you'll need to strike the perfect balance between interesting and dynamic, but still safe and somewhat predictable, evoking the joy. Don't be afraid to make your designs fun, bright, and interesting, as well as functional, logical. You can be engaging graphics, incorporate gamification, or try animation to keep things interesting and keep users curious. So the main goal only focuses on enhancing user satisfaction with product. The core values of goal include empathy, ethics, and usability, which all are crucial in order for a successful enhance of user satisfaction. So this concludes my session. Thank you.